Welcome to Gen Z Hoops, the Gen Z basketball, coaching, and sports business show. On this podcast, you'll learn from professional players, coaches, and executives from all over the world and see the court in a brand new way. And now, joining you courtside, your Gen Z host, John Hartofilis.
Coach Jamie, what's going on?
How you doing, bud?
Doing great. Really excited to have you on the show. And obviously, right, just looking at your office just from this side, right, we could already see just how much, right, you've kind of settled in to your space at Kansas, and you're really, right, excited for the next few weeks, months of basketball that are in store for you. But maybe starting off, right, before we get into what you're doing now, as cool as that might be, I'm kind of curious, right, like what your upbringing was like in basketball, being a coach's son, obviously being maybe around it a lot at an early age. Did you fall in love with it right away? Did it take some getting used to really appreciate the game, or how did that all play out for you?
I don't know if I fell in love with it right away. I think at the beginning, I was pretty well-rounded. My family, my mom put me in all the sports, and baseball was probably my first love. I played baseball all the way through high school and was on travel teams and all that stuff when I was younger. So baseball was it. And then I got a little more serious about basketball and kind of fell in love with basketball probably around 8th grade where I really started getting serious about it. But been around the game a long time. With, like you said, my dad's a coach, and I didn't live with my dad. My mom and dad separated early on, so I would spend my summers with my dad, and was able to be in the gym all day. Get up early. He'd get to the office at 8. I go with him. One of those type of things where you're just in the gym all day. Figuring out, finding new ways to make time go by faster.
Incredible, right? Thinking about that, and then like spending time with your dad, ending up going to camps, really falling in love with the game, right in that, right, where most people start getting serious, 8th, 9th, 10th grade. Once your high school career went up, what kind of led you to end up being a player that was getting recruited by all these big time schools, and having to make that decision on where to go? It
just kind of happened pretty quickly, actually. So 8th grade, the summer to my 9th grade, I got really good, and I was able to play varsity as a freshman. My freshman year, I started and as a freshman, and so I think that's when things really started to run for me. And I got on an AAU team with Athletes First. I don't think they still have Athletes First anymore. I think it's Team Griffin now, but out of Oklahoma. But we had a lot of good players on our team: Sheldon Williams, D'Angelo Alexander, Kalina Azubuike, just to name a few. We had a lot of good guys, and so I was able to be seen just because of those guys. I wasn't nowhere near those guys at that point, but I was able to get seen, and then I just kept improving, and coaches would come see me. Coach Williams was one of the first coaches to actually come see me and recruit me hard. And so, obviously Kansas speaks for itself. Coach Williams, Hall of Fame coach. I was able to sign with them. He offered me a scholarship, and it didn't take long for me to accept that one. So.
It's funny, right, thinking about that process of being recruited by one of the greatest coaches in college basketball history. What was it about Kansas's history that maybe made you so excited about going there?
Obviously tradition, and I came to late night, which is our midnight madness or whatnot, and it was sold out, and the fans were going crazy, and it was an experience I haven't experienced before, but also the coaching staff. It was kind of a family-oriented coaching staff. And, even though, he left before I got here. So the summer that I was supposed to come, I had already signed and everything. And he went to North Carolina. In that transition, they hired Coach Self. And so it was the first part was kind of shocking that he left and whatnot. But, I didn't just sign with him. I signed with Kansas. And Coach Self and I kind of have a history. He played ball with my dad at Oklahoma State. And so he was familiar with me. He was familiar with my family. And so when he came down, he got hired, he came down and talked to us and everything. And so it was, it was a no-brainer to go ahead and stay and play for him.
Was maybe the press, maybe like Sports Illustrated helping you out in any way with maybe the way they publicized some of the Kansas players? Was that helpful to you at all?
Honestly, I don't think so. I wasn't I was recruited pretty hard, but I wouldn't say I was one of those guys that would look like it was going to be a one and done. I was, 2, 3, 4 year type of guy. So that didn't play a big factor. Obviously, when you get to this level, you think, okay, the next step, you're one step away from, playing in the NBA and whatnot. So that was exciting to think about.
So I'll cut this out. But when I brought up Sports Illustrated, I was thinking you were going to turn the camera a little bit.
It put me on there? Oh. Yeah, I'm not on any of these, but I can do that.
No, so I meant like in terms of like you see the kind of a history of Kansas, like you see it all.
Yeah.
And like you open up Sports Illustrated. So I don't know if you want to take it like that, or I could ask it a different way maybe.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So maybe like going home as a kid and opening maybe Sports Illustrated and seeing, pictures of all these Kansas legends on the cover. Did that entice you in any way? Thinking, okay, I want to be a part of history like that?
Yeah. I mean, if you check out the wall, trying to one day be on one of those covers. That's definitely motivating and exciting to see the players that have come before you and to maybe, try to get your picture up there and shoot for that. Definitely motivating.
So and right, it's fun. Thinking about your playing career. I mean, obviously, with all those steps that made it so much fun, and the experiences you were a part of. You were on that 08 team when March almost hit that shot. I mean, just before getting into maybe all the other stuff around that, what was your first? I mean, what's that shot hit? I mean, that shot maybe in particular, but just in general in terms of that entire season. I mean, what was that entire thing like being such a successful basketball team?
Yeah, so we had that year, that 2018 was really good because we had a good mix of young, we had a good mix of old, and we went to the Elite Eight the year before, lost to UCLA. So we were right at the edge of doing something great. And I think we only lost 3 games that year, but when we did lose, it felt like it was the end of the world because we felt like we were so good. There was no reason for us to lose. And we were pretty much just beat ourselves. But that year was probably the most fun I've had, throughout my career. Not only just winning, but just the guys. We all knew what we needed to do. Practices weren't hard because we got the job done. We didn't mess around. We knew exactly what coach wanted. Because all of us have been there, and the young guys would just follow in. And we had such a great core, and our chemistry was unbelievable. It was fun to be around and be a part of throughout that whole year.
So obviously during that time, right, playing, being on such a great team, seeing such great coaching, did you get the itch at all maybe early on that you'd want to do coaching later on? Or was it something that maybe you decided after you graduated? How did that all come about?
Yeah. Coaching was always kind of in the back of my mind, but I would say when it really hit was probably maybe the end of my sophomore year. Because, you come here and you want to, most guys that play ball want to play in the NBA. They want to. But that doesn't happen for everyone. And so I was still chasing that dream. Probably, I probably realized as good as I am, I'm probably not going to be a pro to play in the NBA. And so it was either overseas or, okay, what do you want to do now? Well, I want to stay around ball. I know ball is what I know the best. That's what I've been around. That's what I've known my whole life. So, let's look into coaching and let's really try to learn the game.
Incredible. I mean, there's no better way to learn the game than in the video room. And that's kind of maybe after being a GA, maybe where you got your most experience. I mean, what were kind of the lessons you took from the video room that helped your entire coaching arsenal so much? Yeah,
well, I think, just watching video is not enough. You kind of have to learn what to see and what you're looking for and what you're watching. So, I think Coach Self has been great with that for me is because as a player, we watched a ton of film, with him and going over things and teaching footwork, how to guard certain actions, what actions to identify, Coach Self's been great with that. He's a great X and O guy, and I've taken a lot from him. But then once you learn what you're supposed to see and what you're looking for, and being able to identify actions, identify sets, then when you're watching, you watch it better, and it's a lot more fun that way.
So thinking about how you're kind of there with Coach Self, maybe sharing all these different tactics. What's it like knowing that he trusts you and then there's kind of mutual communication there in what's happening in the video room, but then also what's being translated onto the court? Yeah, no,
it's Coach Self's been great for me, for him believing in me and giving me an opportunity to help this program and to put my imprint on the program, not only as a player, but as a coach as well, has been great. But it feels good to know that he trusts me enough to take my advice and to listen to me. And when I see something, he can say, okay, yeah, that sounds good. Let's try that tomorrow. Things like that. So it's a good feeling to have somebody, of his caliber, a Hall of Fame coach, to actually believe in you and to give you a voice, to put your imprint on this program.
Remember what you're seeing in film, it makes me maybe think about one of the debates that maybe rages amongst most, whether it's video coordinators or most end of game coaches, in terms of when up 3, do you foul or do you defend? Wow, that was a big voice crack. Do you foul or do you defend up 3? What's kind of your stance on that?
I think there's a lot of factors that go into it. I think you have to know your team. Are you a good rebounding team, especially on free throws? does your team make free throws? Because it's gonna come down to free throws anyway. And then obviously how much time's left. But with all those factors, I think you can go either way. My experience, I have not been around a lot of foul, but I have seen it work. So I just think it kind of varies. I think if I'm in that situation, I'm the head coach, and I would say I'd probably foul. Because if in the 2008 game, if Calipari and Memphis, if they would have fouled, they may have won the game. We wouldn't have won in overtime.
Right. It's a great example. Right? I'm thinking about so many times in history where fouling's been, or we're not fouling, maybe it's been a detriment. And fouling has only been a problem, maybe only a few times. It's interesting. We're thinking about where that's coming out. Obviously, it's because more times than not, people don't foul. So many things that go into that, and so many things that play a role. But it's interesting. We're thinking about all of that. And I kind of think about maybe you transitioning now out of the video coordinating role. Right now, being an assistant coach, I'm assuming, right, you've been on the road all summer. I mean, what's it kind of like getting back to recruiting and being on the road?
Yeah, so I haven't been out on the road in about 5 years, and it's actually been exciting. And I've forgotten how long the days are. Sitting in the gym watching so many games, but as far as getting back out there, it's been really fun. It's been exciting to watch all these kids play, and the talent's unbelievable. Watching these kids work hard, and some of them have 3 games a day. And I know how hard that is because I've done it. But it's fun to watch. It's fun to get back out there, and I've really enjoyed it this past month.
So cool. I think about how you're out there on the court again and doing all these cool things. I mean, I just out of curiosity, obviously being a fan of the college game, what's kind of the next few weeks looking like in terms of how does that scheduling work out before the first few set of games kick off in the next few months?
Yeah, well, right now, as far as recruiting, that's the main thing we're doing right now is just trying to iron down and not iron out, the main guys that we're trying to get, and doing everything we can to set up dates and schedules for visits, doing a lot of Zooms. Just really trying to hone in on those, 4 or 5 guys that we need to sign. And then obviously our guys are gone right now. So our current guys are gone right now at home. They get back in a couple of weeks, and then we'll hit the ground running with practices and all of that.
Can't wait to see it. I'm obviously really excited to be watching this season. What's maybe the thing you're most excited for once tip-off comes in the next, just right, we're maybe so close to it. What are you most excited for?
Yeah, well, knock on wood, but hopefully, we'll have a full capacity in the games and having our fans there. And I don't know if you've ever been to a game in the Fieldhouse, but it's an exciting time. And it's probably one of those things you probably want to put on your bucket list is to come to come to the game in the Allen Fieldhouse because it's so exciting. Our fans are so electrifying. And we have 16,300 every night, and and they get after it. So that's what I'm most excited about is having our fans back.
I've never been I've never been, but just even that part of the country. But I definitely have to make my way there too. As a basketball fan, right? It's like you said, it's definitely on my bucket list. So hopefully I can catch a game there soon. But until then, I'll definitely be watching on TV. I'm trying to pick you out on the sideline and watching pretty cool X's and O's, right? That you've been seeing in the video room, but also that now you're the assistant coach on the court. So Coach Case, thank you so much for kind of this conversation because it's kind of been eye opening to me. Maybe seeing that transition on you going from the video room to the coach to the sideline. Something that's inspiring to me, and I know so many of my listeners really appreciate you coming on and sharing this with us.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me.
Thanks for listening to Gen Z Hoops. Make sure to follow, like, and subscribe on Instagram, LinkedIn, and all major social media platforms at Gen Z Hoops. You can tune in and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and every other podcast platform on the planet. Get ready for the next episode.